Peace and welcome to the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters. Thanks for watching and subscribing to our channel. Okay, you say, well, the sun has an effect on the planet Earth. Well, you can see that, we get our light from the sun. But at the same time, the sun oftentimes has solar flares. And that affects the planet. The sun and the moon already have an attractive power on the planet. But the sun's attractive power is so strong that it creates evaporation. It can draw water up into a fine mist the naked eye can hardly detect. The moon doesn't have that capacity. The moon just pulls on the tides. So that is one reason why the moon is also likened to having an emotional aspect or an emotional capacity in terms of influencing not only the planet, but the physical form. Or why they say that the moon rules Cancer, and Cancer is connected to the waters and emotions and all of this other stuff. Because if the moon can only really tug on the tides of the planet, then it also has that kind of effect on the physical body, which is 3/4 water, as well as the sympathetic nervous system, which deals with regulating the body fluids, which is connected to the nervous system. So that's one of the reasons why traditionally in different societies, you get people who have been considered lunatics. It comes from lunar. Or you may have seen or come across studies that have been done that says that during the full moon and stuff, you get more people admitted into the emergency room, or you have more people who are admitted into mental asylums, or people having different type of issues or difficulties. All of this is scientific. But again, it doesn't mean that just because it's a full moon, somebody gonna turn into a damn werewolf. Shit, some of us are turned into a werewolf with some Henny. It don't matter what kind of moon outside. Shit, give us some Henny. And that's the practical shit that people don't really take into consideration. Like, come on now. Yeah, you got some of these influences, but you have other influences too. And with all of those different variables, there's a lot to take into consideration in terms of a person's capacity to be able to chart their own destiny. Now, some people, just like when you see people who do hypnosis, and they say that you have some people who are much more receptive to being hypnotized. It's the exact same thing with influences in this world. Some people are much more receptive to being influenced. And we have a nice category for them in the knowledge culture degree in the 1 to 40s. Who is the 85%? They're the uncivilized people, poisonous animal eaters, slaves from mental death and power, those who do not know the true and living God or their origin in this world and worship what they know not, who are easily led in the wrong direction, hard to lead in the right direction. So if you don't know your origin, you don't have a sense of orientation. Because if you don't know where you're standing at or where you started at, you don't know what direction. You don't know north, south, east. There is no direction. You can only know a sense of direction if you know origin, because origin allows you to have a sense of orientation. Once you have a sense of orientation, you have a sense of direction. So a person that's easily led in the wrong direction and hard to lead in the right direction, a person that can be directed in that way, they're not self-directed, is telling you that they don't have a sense of origin. That's what knowledge of self is. It teaches you a sense of origin in terms of your endogenous reality, that you are supreme intelligence, you are supreme force and power within this form, whether you're male or female. And it is from that place of infinite potential that you have this form to navigate in this world and to bring some type of contribution to this world, to bring more beauty to it and to repair what's broken. From that place of origin, now you have layers of identity. The essence of you is supreme intelligence, supreme force and power, infinite potential. Now the next layer, you will be defined as a woman. I will be defined as a man. Now you have all of these other different layers. One of those layers, like I was just explaining, is temperament. That's just a layer. Some of those layers are more dense or more fixed than others. Some are more mutable. So you have some people in the society, when it comes to gender, they think that that's mutable. It's not fixed. You know, you can be a trans species if you want to. You know, tomorrow I want to identify as a snake. You know? So through that infinite potential, the form is manifested with various different layers to it. And based upon the density of those layers, some people identify with various different things, not necessarily with the infinite potential. So think about this. You have that infinite potential, and all the way down the line, you got a person that says that they're just a Christian. They done went through everything else, and that's how they identify. If you're looking at it as a timeline, they're identifying with something way, way down there. The goal is to identify as closest as possible to your infinite potential without disregarding the other different layers of your being. It's important to acknowledge the various different layers as well, but not to sacrifice the infinite potential. Nor should you sacrifice the infinite potential to just simply identify with some of those layers. Because in all of those layers is always evidence of the infinite potential. It's always evidence of it in there to remind us that greater is thee or that which is in us, being endogenous, than just this form that's in the world.